So we'll go on to the nervous system here. So in the nervous system, you will have a stimulus to start with. So a stimulus is something like a fire, a pinprick, or something that causes a response. And then your receptors, for example, in your hand or anywhere in your skin, your tongue, your eyes, anywhere in your body, these receptors will pick up this signal. And what they will do is they'll pass that message on into your central nervous system, which is made up of your brain and spinal cord, and then it goes to your effector. The effector will be your muscle or gland, and that will cause you to have a response. This in general is your nervous system. There's two different types of actions that you have within your nervous system. You have the voluntary actions and then you have your reflex actions. So voluntary actions are the ones that involve conscious control. For example, you lifting your pen to write something down, that's a conscious control. They vary in speed. For example, if you're constantly trying to pick up your pen, it'll take time for you to do that. If you're voluntary going to lift a glass or drink some water, that's a voluntary action. You're moving your muscles in your arm to go lift that. Kick at a football is the exact same. Whereas a reflex action is something that involves no conscious control, which basically means you don't think about it. And it's a very, very fast reaction, such as breathing, your heart beating, like you consciously can't stop your heart beating. The next thing we go on to is this thing known as your reflex arc. The reflex arc, guys, is just basically part of your spinal cord and it shows the response that happens. So I'm going to start off at the bottom here, at the very bottom here. So you start off with your stimulus, like I talked about earlier. For this case, you have your fire. Then you have receptors in your hand, and at the very end of the receptors here, you've got this thing called a sensory neuron. The sensory neuron will travel, say for example, the whole way up your arm. It's one big long single cell, and it goes through the the white matter here first of all, and then to the grey matter of your spinal cord. At the end of this one here, you've got a synapse, which basically means the wee gap in between the neurons, so it's your synapse in here, and it attaches into the association neuron. When it gets into the association neuron, it sends a message up into your brain, and it basically tells an information to your brain then decides, and it comes back down to the associated neuron, and then into your motor neuron, which again is still also in your grey matter, and travels out into your effector, which could be your muscle, causing your hand to move away. How you remember this here is known as SAM. Sensory associated motor. It's a unidirectional flow, which basically just means one way, and it's all due to electrical impulses. Nothing else. It's not hormonal, it's not chemical, it's just basically electrical impulse. And think how quick it is for you to switch on the light and how quickly it takes the light to come on. That's how quick as well your nervous reactions are, if you think about it, how quick it is for you to move. Number one point here is talked about synapses. Basically, if they ask you what a synapse is, you basically just say a gap between the neurons, as you can see. Up in here, you've got your wee gap between neurons, a gap between a neuron. If you want to elaborate, you'll realise there's like a chemical that gets released there. Basically, what you need to know about them as well. So it's a gap between the neuron where chemical messengers cross. Okay, so they don't actually touch. If they touched all the time, if you touched anything, it'd be a constant message going across. So you feel a constant pain or constant motion of something. And that's basically your reflex arc.